I've been, like many of you, I have been in the insights community for decades. I've been doing this a long time, both supplier and client side. But as part of my intro, I just want to lean into my nature aspect because we're going to be talking about nature today and how we handle burnout, use that as a tool to help us. And so I have stood on the highest natural point of each U.S. state in the continental U.S. And earlier this year, I climbed Kilimanjaro and hiked the Inca Trail. So I use this. This is my tool that I hope can also help some of you. And coming out of this, I'm not going to say, oh, you need to climb Kilimanjaro to get this benefit. You don't. But we're going to have some fun today. And the other thing that excites me is the timing of this. As we look to next week to Thanksgiving, this is a time of self-reflection and a time where we look at what we're grateful for and what we're thankful for. But it's also a good time to do a self-scan and to take a look at, what is our actual current state? Because sometimes that just gets lost in the shuffle. Now, I'm willing to bet that more than one of you can identify with the emotion and the imagery that we're seeing in this image. We are I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say that we are in this highly connected society, constantly on. We're vibrating at this high frequency all the time. And we enter into the state of exhaustion as a result, and we try to balance it out with over caffeinating, and it's just, we're trying to constantly keep up. So for me, as I went through a self-exploratory year this year to figure out why I was constantly so exhausted. And to me, burnout was one of those terms where I personally used, kind of like irony, where you can use it very easily, you understand the concept, but it's also helpful to dial it back and take a look at the definition of what we're looking at today. So it's the complete mental, physical, emotional exhaustion that sets in. And it's an occupational phenomenon. So that means this is not a medical condition, but it is something that can manifest itself physically if we don't watch out for it. Now, a couple of years ago, Deloitte did a study of workers where they found that 77% of people in their study were burnt out in their current role. And now, so as researchers, we can make an assumption that Deloitte conducted a proper study. They had proper sampling and fielded it well. And so with that, we can make a projection that maybe our microcosm of a community here, 3 out of 4 of us here are burnt out in our current job. And that's staggering to me. So the other image that I think of, and that helped me, really resonated with me as I went through this journey this year, is a light switch halfway. And in our society, I mean, we're just on all hours of the day, being highly connected. And so we never fully turn off either. But it also means we can't show up as our best selves. We can't be fully on. Even if we're hitting a home run out of the park, it's hard for us to be fully motivated and to have full creativity and full productivity when we're never really dialing out. The other thing, as we start to think about manifesting physically, so that can start to show up as headaches that are unexplained. You have no real reason for getting a headache, digestive issues, problems with sleep. And then in the extreme cases, we end up in the ER and with heart issues. So let's get ahead of that. Let's make sure we leave that behind us and we start paying attention. So the way that works for me, and this is not an elixir cure-all for everyone, but to get outside and to spend time with nature. And there have been so many. It's staggering the amount of studies that are out there on the benefits of nature. But if you just take a look at spending some, even screenshots, like having your desktop image on your phone even. And so I know a lot of people, if you want to have pictures of your kids or your dogs, great, but put them out in nature because you will start to reap some of the benefits that come from that, even just by imagery. So because we're researchers, I'm going to put some research in front of you. And like I said, there are so many studies out there, but I'm going to talk about 3 for this group. So decades ago, Japan started exploring forest bathing and just it's walks outdoors. And they started looking at the benefits of being in nature. And what they did was measure bioindicators related to stress before and after the nature walk. And the findings from that showed a significant decrease in cortisol levels, diminished sympathetic nerve activity, and also reduced blood pressure and heart rate coming out of that. So then more recently, in 2015, Stanford University researchers wanted to understand the benefits of nature. And so the study they set up was a 90-minute nature walk versus an urban walk of the same length of time. So what they wanted to do was control for the physical benefits that you get from walking. So the cardio benefits and just the general movement and that comes and double click into, well, let's isolate the benefits of nature. And they found decreased neural activity in the part of the brain associated with anxiety and depression. So those are very powerful findings. In 2020, so far more recently, as we're entering the pandemic, researchers from Cornell aimed to identify the minimum amount of time we need to spend outdoors in order to reap these benefits. And what they found, this blows my mind, 10 minutes, just 10 minutes outdoors every day will help us to get some of these benefits. They found it improved mood, focus, physiological markers like blood pressure and heart rate. So you get all of these benefits from just 10 minutes outdoors every day. And the full body of their research was 10 to 50, 50, but 10 minutes and you're getting that benefit. So my challenge for everyone here is to get outdoors 10 minutes every day from now through the end of the year. So now through New Year's Eve, 10 minutes. And if we need to calendar it, because many of us do in order to make it a reality, put it on your calendar. Think about other little changes that you can make. If we have a nice day, I know the weather's starting to turn, but if we have a nice day, take your lunch outside. Or if you're meeting a friend for coffee, grab a coffee, but get it to go and go for a walk with them. And whatever you can do to just find that extra time to carve out and then also take a self-scan to notice what's happening. Is your mood improving? Are you feeling better? Are you showing up to work and to your personal life a little bit more creative and a little bit more rested? So that's my happy challenge for you for this year. So our questions. I would love for everyone to talk about what is one thing that has been working well for you in managing your burnout. So this is not a push for, go climb Everest, but what do you do that works well for you? And I encourage you to keep an open mind as you're listening to your breakout session. And hopefully that flows into something that inspires you. What is one thing that you plan to explore as a potential solution to managing burnout?